Hello everyone, I'm here in Japan, and today we're going to look at the smallest, tiniest, most expensive, largest and craziest thingamabobby in all of Japan. Or maybe you were just going to talk about some stuff. A few minutes ago I finished picking up a few things at the Ion supermarket here in Onomichi, and I really wanted to make a video for you guys and kind of update you a little bit on what's been going on recently. And I looked on the map and realized, hey, I can drive up to the museum. It's closed right now, but the parking lot is right over there and open. So I decided to come here and chat. It's very quiet, not too many people. And as you can see, it's quite pretty down here, and I'm feeling the love. It really is gorgeous here. I actually haven't been to this spot before. I knew it was here, but, you know, just like many other places that are around you, whether it's your hometown or a place you've moved to another country, or just where you happen to be at the time, that, you know, it just seems that sometimes you miss some of these places. Basically, I feel like there are some things that I want to be able to say and get off my chest. There are some things I want to share. There are parts of my life, what's going on, that I want to be able to really connect with somebody about, and I don't know how or where to do that, honestly, because I'm not, and some of you already know this, but I'm not the kind of guy who comes from a close family. The family that I do have are what you would call an enmeshed family, and there's a lot of damage and trauma there, and for those reasons, we haven't had communication in a long time, and we can't have communication. That's my boundary. So family is basically out of the question. I really don't have any close family. I do have some distant cousins and some good friends back in the U.S. who loosely stay in touch with me on Facebook and sometimes keep in touch with me, and they've actually even reached out occasionally to help support me financially, and that's been very helpful and valuable to me. But there's a big difference between having somebody in your life just sometimes and actually having a close, supportive, immediate family member, you know, a parent, a sibling, you know, somebody really close to you, a grandparent, an uncle or an aunt, somebody who's been there for you for a really long time. And I'm not talking about a one-sided relationship. I mean somebody that you've developed a relationship with over a long period of time, who's in your immediate family, who you've grown very fond of, and who really loves you and you really love them. I don't have that, and I think the last time I really did have that was when my grandmother was alive, and that was a really long time ago. Actually, that was exactly 30 years ago. She passed away, so that's how long it's been since I've had a family member, an immediate family member, who was very close to me, that really did show love to me and some favoritism even towards me. But I haven't had that for 30 years, and so there it is. Because I don't know where to go, who to talk to, or what to do about some things, I decided to just share with you guys. There are a few different things that have gone on recently that I feel like pretty important, and who knows which direction things are going to go, or if the mosquitoes are going to kill me. I didn't think about that, so I didn't bring any spray. So I might not be able to be out here very long, which is probably for the best for both of us, for both me and you. But basically, I'm still going to school on my student visa in Onomichi, and it's difficult. Physically and financially, it's been very difficult. This is the last month that I'll receive any type of assistance. After that, there's no more assistance available for me, and I took steps to find a part-time job, and it looked like it was working out. I even managed to get a raise to make up the money that I would need. It was going to be very difficult, but the work was very interesting, and that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of tell you guys about. Excuse me. Man, whew. I just ate a snack a little while ago, and it seems to be wanting to go the wrong direction. But basically, this job from Onomichi to Takamatsu is where I was going. And I was hitting the Shinkansen going down there, and there's like a recycling company, and basically they get a lot of stuff from all sorts of places, like shrines and temples and houses, Akiya. Even shops that have been shut down, they get all sorts of really cool stuff. Some of it's very valuable, some of it's very interesting, some of it's not necessarily valuable, but it's old and vintage. Tons of Japanese antiques and old stuff, things that most Japanese don't want anymore, or things that are out of style, but things that are to people like us, foreigners, we think are really cool things. And my job was going to be, and actually I'd already started to do this basically, where I was going in and looking through all the stuff in their storehouse and the houses where they have all of these things kept. And it was so amazing to go through there. It was like treasure hunting. And basically, they were relying on me to pick out the things that I thought foreigners would really like. And everything that I picked out, the staff would take those things and clean them up and get them ready for photography, for pictures. And that was the other thing I was going to do. They set up a small photo studio, and I was going to be taking pictures once I started working, regular hours. I was going to be doing that, and then taking those photos into the computer and, correcting them and getting them uploaded online so they could be prepared to be sold online. And it was pretty cool. The people were really, really nice. It was a staff of maybe about 5 people, and they were all really kind and nice to me. And on top of that, the boss's mother was super nice and kind to me. Everybody was really good to me, and the job was super interesting. The pay wasn't super high, but I think that I was going to be able to make it work. It was going to be very busy to be here and study, and going down there sometimes, at least 2 times a month, and then doing the rest of the work here on my computer. It was going to be challenging, but I thought it would be interesting and good for me, get my mind focused on other things and off my health condition. But the last time I went down there a few weeks ago, basically I felt like I was verbally attacked. I was criticized heavily and unfairly about some things that I couldn't possibly have known. And I was told repeatedly throughout this entire time that I've been, going down there and being with the boss and the company, the owner there, she's told me many times, I don't know anything about the photography, and I don't know anything about the studio, the photo studio, and the setup and the backdrop, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to leave all that to you, and you just do what you need to do, and you tell me what you need. If you need something, I'll buy it. So the lighting, the track lights, all my idea, the type of lights, the dimmer switches, everything that they have in there. If I can think about it, maybe I'll show you a picture on here of what it looks like, because I did take a couple of pictures of it once it was finished. It's meant for medium to small size items to be placed in a small white studio with lights, and so we can take good pictures. Everything that's in there, basically, I was the consultant on setting up, and she paid some contractors to set that up, and it was really, really cool. I was looking forward to that because there were ningyo, like Japanese dolls, and Japanese art, and some old art that in Japan is considered out of fashion, but in another country would be really cool, like these framed old Japanese coins, the really old ones that are kind of oblong, silver and gold colors with Japanese explanations of what period they're from and things like that. They're just replicas, but they're in a frame, and they look really cool to hang on the wall. However, most people nowadays in Japan, most Japanese, don't want those things because they're out of style. So they would look really cool on a wall or in a living room, either in a living room or in a dining room in the U.S. or some other foreign country. But here, mostly they're out of style. I was going to be taking pictures of those, and vases and dishes, and just so many different things. I can't even begin to describe all the things that I saw there and the things that I learned. And it was even helping my Japanese because communicating with everybody around me required either they know some English, I know Japanese, or we use a translator. And so I tried my best to always communicate as much as possible in Japanese. So it really was helping my my Japanese. I realized that it was helping me to improve. So working there wasn't really keeping me away from studies so much. It was giving me good real world experience. But unfortunately, the boss, the owner, she's the one that, even though, like I said, she told me, do all these things, take control of all these things and just tell me what you need. She would always come back and second guess everything, but do it in like a subtle, indirect way and say, we're doing it this way, but, what do you think about this? Or did you think this way was better? Or if you want to change it, you can. But I thought, this is silly, because if I really wanted to change it, I would just tell her, I don't like this. I want to change it. Because she told me, if you don't like something, just tell me you want to change it and we'll change it. But whenever I would decide on something and we would start to do that, sometimes we'd be like 75 or 80% finished. And then she would say, hey, if you don't like this, we can change it. If you don't like it, you should speak up. And I would say, did someone say that I don't like it? Because I never said that. But she would just keep on and on and on and on. And what I realized was she had her own personal opinion that she was trying to inject into the situation. But she didn't want to come out and say that, because she was always saying, but it's up to you. It's up to you. But she just couldn't keep her hands off of it. She's the type of boss that is very, very controlling. And, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about her, but, just based on what I know about what she's been through, her personal life and her position as the boss of this company, I just assume that her impatience, her anxiety, her bossiness, her rudeness, and her inability to communicate well and really hear what the other person is saying. I think all of this stuff is kind of, it makes sense because of her background and everything. She's used to just telling people what to do and getting things right now. And I'm a student, so for those of you who've been to Japan as workers or students or whatever, that that's not a quick process, and you can't always get the paperwork or the answers done just like that. Sometimes it takes quite a while to get things done, and that's something, for some reason, it just really rubs her the wrong way. And so whenever she would ask me a question that I didn't know the answer to, like about, working the immigration papers, or, when I can start, or when I can go full time after graduating school, or whatever, anything regarding those things, there are a lot of times where I just don't know, because as an actual international student, a lot of those things my school will either know or be able to find out, or they're supposed to take care of, not me. I don't do the paperwork. I give them some information and I sign. That's pretty much all you will do when it comes to doing your part-time work here. And the school will take that information and they will turn all that information into immigration, and they will contact the company if they need to. They will speak with the company. I don't really need to do much of anything other than give them like the company's name and contact information. I need to write all that on the form, and then what I'm supposed to be doing for them, and then sign it and give it back to them. They take care of everything else. So when I would tell her, you should talk to my school, or I don't know, she would get so bent out of shape about that. She basically started labeling me and calling me names over these nonsensical things. And the list of names just started to get longer. In the beginning, when this really started to take off, was a few weeks ago. But here's the reason I'm needing, one of the main reasons why I'm needing to get this kind of off my chest. And I appreciate those of you who've watched this, who are watching this, who watched it up till now, and especially who are watching this part, because this is the part I'm really, I don't want to say frustrated with. I'm just, once again, so disappointed in the people that seem to come into my life. I want to love and be loved. I want people to be nice, and I want to be nice to people. And I would really like for the people I'm around or work with or spending time with to be good people. And when they verbally abuse me, because this is exactly what happened, I was verbally assaulted and I couldn't get it resolved. I just can't accept it. And as a normal, healthy person, I wouldn't be able to accept it. But there are a couple of issues. One is, for a great majority of my life, I went through this abuse. You know, I had almost 10 years of it from my ex-wife, and I had an entire childhood of it from my family. And even as an adult, I had to endure it until I finally just decided to cut them out of my life. So I'm on overload with verbal abuse. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, the main reason I went down to Takamatsu this last weekend was because I got a massive amount of, I guess you could say, highly detailed, advanced scans of my body with the most advanced equipment available. I'm still getting over some junk. That's another thing. I had a cough for over a month, and I was diagnosed last week with asthma. Yay. So they've been giving me medicine to try to loosen that up and get rid of the cough. I still have a little bit, but I'm trying to control it right now. But anyway, the primary issue is my kidney, the cancer tumor on my kidney. Excuse me. Basically, when you have a tumor, one of the big fears is of metastasis, when it spreads to other organs or parts of your body. So they did a complete scan of my brain, my chest, my entire body, my abdomen, everything, to check everything out. There's a spot on my lung that's been there for many, many years, a long time, and they suspected that it was metastasis, but it's always been there, like ever since I can remember, many, many years, before I was even diagnosed with cancer, and it's never grown. But with this equipment, they were able to tell that it's non-cancerous, so that's good. And the good news that came out of all of this is that there's been no spread to my brain or my lungs or any other organs. There's no evidence of metastasis anywhere, so that's good. But there are two primary locations where the tumor is. Number one, it's a huge tumor. It's very large on my right kidney, and basically it's so big that it is intruding into the vein right there. I've been told vein and artery. I'm not sure which one it is, but basically, because it's gotten into that vein or artery, it's caused it's caused restrictive blood flow, and it's caused issues in the rest of my body. That's why I got clots in my leg last year, and I'm on blood thinners now, which I take every day. But essentially, the doctor told me that that's the very first thing that we have to try to figure out a way to take care of, is clearing that vein or that artery, because he said that at any moment it could clog up. And he said it's pretty much over. If that closes, the blood going to the heart will stop. And, you know, that I'm assuming that that's just heart attack, immediate heart attack. And if that clogs and doesn't reopen, I can be just gone in a matter of seconds. So, very serious situation. And the sad thing is that I was sitting there with this doctor, and the boss of the company that I was supposed to be working for, she's sitting right there with me, literally listening to what the doctor was saying, because he said it in English and in Japanese. He was able to speak some English, so that was pretty cool. But he explained it also in Japanese, and then later on, she and I discussed it some more. But literally just a few hours later, after all of that, after he tells me the seriousness of my situation and how I could walk out the door and then have a heart attack and die. It could be just like that. So he said it was important that I get treatment as soon as possible. He recommended a doctor to me and a treatment. And I was supposed to go meet with him tomorrow. That was canceled for a couple of reasons, but a few days ago is when I went to the doctor and had that all those exams done, and I sat down and talked with him. And she was right there with me, and she heard everything that he said. And then afterwards, we went to dinner and we talked about it. And she knew all the information about how serious my situation was. And then whenever, I was getting ready to go back to the room that she had there for me to stay, it was right before bedtime. I was going to go take a shower and then go to bed. And she decided to start asking me about the background and the brackets of the photo studio that I and one of the other workers had put up the day before. And it was mostly finished. I'd say 95% finished. We needed to go back and add some wall anchors because the wall that they put up there was super thin drywall. So we needed some different wall anchors that would hold those brackets. And the plan, we had already discussed what we were going to do. We were going to go to the hardware store the next day or whenever I came back. And we're going to just put those wall anchors in and then reattach the brackets and be finished with it. We'd be all done. But she brought it up and started acting like I wasn't happy with the brackets. And if I wasn't happy with the brackets, then I should say so. I should have said so before. But I never said I was not happy with the brackets. And if you rewind back to the very beginning, like many, many weeks ago, I made several suggestions and asked several questions that went ignored or weren't really liked. And she kind of wanted to do something else. And I said, well, if you really want to do that, it's fine. If that's what you want to do, fine. And so basically, several things that happened weren't my choice. They were just either modifications of what I had suggested or they were her choice. And later on, it caused some issues which could have been avoided if I had been listened to from the beginning, but I wasn't. Because she was asking me about, for example, the width of the space. How wide should we make this box, basically? It's like a big white box for taking pictures of things. And she wanted to know how wide we should make it. And my question was, well, it kind of depends, how wide are the backdrops that you're going to buy? And she didn't act like that was a big deal. She acted like, oh, that doesn't matter. They're different sizes. Let's focus on the size that we need, the minimal size that we need, to shoot medium and small size items. And I said, I don't know. And I reached out like this. I put my hands out like this. It's a little less than 2 meters. And I thought, I walked over to the wall. We looked at it. We talked with the contractors. There were 4 of us there that day, and all 4 of us agreed that if we're just going to be taking pictures of medium and small size things, that 2 meters inside and 2 meters up was enough. Okay, so everybody agreed, and that's the way they built it. Now, they didn't actually build it completely 2 meters. It was about 3/4 of an inch shy, or a few centimeters shy of that. So they didn't even build it a full 2 meters. But come to find out, the 2 meter backgrounds wouldn't fit because the brackets on both sides, where they have like the chain and you can pull up the screen, it needs about this much extra space on both sides. So if you only have 2 meters of space and you have a 2 meter curtain, you still need, this much space at least on both sides. So you're talking about maybe another 15 to 18 inches of space on both sides. So it should have been more than 2 meters, right? Total. But once again, this could have been avoided if my words and my questions in the beginning had been listened to, but they were just kind of, ignored. And then, because I also said, I don't even really think that we need these fancy brackets with the chains and the different backgrounds, because most of the stuff we shoot will be on a white backdrop anyway, and we have a nice white space, so we don't even need a backdrop. We can just put up a couple of hooks, put a pole, and put the background on the pole. Make it simple, make it cheap. But she goes, I don't care about money. We can pay for it. And I said, okay, fine. Then do what you want to do. And so she took that as, that's what I want. So she ordered the brackets and all of those things. But as a result, we had to get a much smaller screen, and we lost a lot of space on both sides. But that's what she said, let's go ahead and do it. And I gave up because I'm not going to argue. I already said we can just do this. And she was like, but this, but that, but this, but that. And I got tired of dealing with it. So I was like, listen, if that's what you want, then it's good enough, because I'm going to be the one taking the pictures anyway. If I say fine, then just get it, because I'm not going to sit here and debate it. Just either do the simple hooks or do the chains and the more complicated hooks and lose some space with a smaller screen. I don't care. I don't care that much about it. You do what you want. But then the stuff came in. Me and another guy, we put everything up. We were pretty much done except for the wall anchors. And then she decides she's not happy with it because she sees all the extra space that we lose on both sides, right? Which I had already mentioned. Well, she goes into, this long barrage of nagging questions. And a lot of them were things that we couldn't change. And I said, well, the past is the past. There's no reason in rehashing things that we can't change. We can't change, because she talked about the size of the space. What are we going to do? Tear it all down and rebuild it? They're not. That would be really expensive and time consuming. There's no way that that's going to be done. So we just have to work with what we have. There's no sense in complaining about it. But it seemed like the more truth and honesty and facts and calmness that I would give, the more upset she would get. And so she started calling me too shy and not motivated and all this other stuff. And I was like, too shy? I moved abroad. I've been to 15 countries. I've lived in 3. I've made my own movies. I've taught thousands of students. I've been to a lot of places. I've lived a lot of my life alone and going to a lot of places. And I speak my mind and my opinions pretty openly. I'm not a shy guy. And how was I not proactive and I've been telling what I think, but because she interjects. So I was getting mixed messages from her where it's like, hey, listen, you do whatever you want. You tell me what you want, what's going to work for you, because you're taking the pictures. But then later, when everything was, kind of either in the middle of progressing or almost finished, she would come in and start questioning it and essentially wanting to change it. That was frustrating. She would twist it and make it look like, or make it sound like I was the one that was unhappy with it. But I'd never said that. She would just keep saying it again and again. And I finally told her, listen, just because you say something doesn't make it true. You can't tell me what I was thinking or what I was feeling. You can't tell me that I don't like something. And you definitely can't tell me that I complained about something when I haven't. I haven't thought that. I haven't complained about it. The only thing that I would complain about is getting second guessed and being told you can do what you like, and then later being, and basically told, I don't really like that, and I know that you don't like it, so why did you do it? Using me as a scapegoat, it reminded me of my family. But several other things happened, and to make a long story short, I was name called. She yelled at me. She just slammed her phone down on the table. She walked out of the room. She wouldn't talk to me. I never raised my voice. I never called her any names. But after she called me names several times, I told her exactly these words. I feel like I'm being attacked. I feel like I'm being verbally attacked. She said, I'm not a verbal abuser. And I said, I didn't say you were a verbal abuser. I just said, I feel like I'm being verbally attacked. And she repeated later, but she said it differently. She said, you called me a verbal abuser. No, I didn't. Second time, I will remind you, that's not what I said. What I said was, I feel like I'm being verbally attacked. And the way I feel about something that someone is doing to me, and name calling somebody a verbal abuser, those are two different things. The next day, she did it again. She said, you told me that I called you these names, not being proactive and unmotivated and shy and many others. I can't even remember. It's so ridiculous. If I went back and I looked through the messages and the translations she sent me, it's so ridiculous. And she never acknowledged doing anything wrong. She blamed everything that she didn't like. She claimed that I didn't like, and then blamed it all on me. And then she even said that I was blaming it on everybody else. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody else has done anything wrong. I haven't said anything about anyone else. Actually, the help that I got from my coworkers and even her mother, they've all been nothing but kind to me, nothing but nice to me. I've never said anything about them at all that's negative, not a single thing. So when she says I've been blaming everybody else, I don't even know what she's talking about. I seriously don't. So I asked her, tell me one time where I was shy or not proactive or where I blamed somebody else for something. And that's when she blew up. That's when she got really angry, yelled and slammed her phone on the table and walked out. That's what caused her to get angry when I asked her to give me just one example of these names that she was calling me. But then the next day, when she told me, you said I called you all these names, but I didn't. I didn't say those things. And I reminded her, yes, you did. Don't gaslight me and tell me you didn't say those things, because you did. And then she changed her story and she said, well, I used the translator and the translator was wrong. Okay, so first of all, you didn't say those things. Now you did say those things, but the translator was wrong. And she realized that became like her number one go-to, is that when she became very angry, she would use the translator, and then the translator was always wrong. So I asked her when we were having our last lunch together, that was yesterday, I asked her, so when you got very angry, you yelled at me, slammed your phone down and walked out, was that just a mistranslation? Did that not really happen? And you should have seen how angry she became. But the truth hurts. And she threatened me many times. Even a few weeks ago, she said this. She said it again a few days ago, and she said it again yesterday. And she uses it to try to hold over my head and threaten me. Maybe we shouldn't work together. Maybe we can't work together. Maybe you shouldn't work for me. Maybe you just can't work for me. You know, she would just throw that out there. And she's done it several times as a way to kind of threaten me. So I told her, I said, I can't have you threatening me over and over again saying, maybe we shouldn't work together. And she told me, I never said that. And that's her in a nutshell. What I realized is that she's a very anxious person, a very controlling person, a gaslighting person, and a sociopath. She's got very strong sociopathic tendencies. She never admits that she's done anything wrong. And even though she sat right there with me, and this is the thing that bothers me the most, even though she sat right there with me and she heard the doctor tell me that I could walk out in the lobby and have a heart attack right there and it wouldn't surprise him, and I needed to have treatment as soon as possible. A couple of hours later, she's berating me, yells at me, and calls me names. And I'm talking to her at least as calmly as I am now talking to you. And I even told her, do you realize right now I'm in pain and I'm trying to find a way just to live and enjoy life? Because I'm not enjoying life. And any work that I do for her or a company or anyone else is difficult. It's difficult to go to school. I miss a lot of days because I just don't feel like going. I'm in pain. Last month I had this cough and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And finally they figured out that I had asthma and it was getting tight up here. And it wasn't until just a few days ago that one of the other doctors gave me some strong inhalers to help open up my bronchial passages. It's been really difficult for me. And to be completely honest, I I don't want to fight this thing. I want to be better right now, or I want to die right now. That's what I want. I want to be gone, or I want to be better. I don't want to be anywhere in between. I'm not interested in it. I'm just tired. Maybe my thinking would be different if I had, a decent family, and I had had a decent childhood, and I had people to kind of rely on and support me and help me. If I had that sort of love and support, maybe my feeling would be different. But even though there are things that I really wanted to do in life, I wanted to have a loving family. I wanted to have at least one or two kids that really loved me and grew up to love me. And the only daughter I have, she's grown up to treat me like her mom. I can't talk to her. She just, it feels like a big joke. Sometimes life just feels like a big joke. And I know it's not. I don't believe that it is. I just believe that, for some people, sometimes that's just the way it is. I'm not complaining about it. It might sound like that, but I'm not really complaining about it. I'm just saying that I'm not interested in it. Not anymore. Everyone tells me, "Oh, you're so strong. I can't imagine." Yeah, I get it. And I know that people have checked out over less than what I've gone through, because there's a lot of stuff you guys don't know that I've been through. And now is, I guess, not the platform or the time, the place to share it. But I couldn't stay there anymore and be abused, even though I really need that part-time job. So I packed up all my stuff yesterday and I let her know I'm leaving. And at first she was, really angry about that. And then she didn't really believe me. But whenever we got back to the room, she saw that I'd bought a suitcase from the secondhand store, and she realized I was pretty serious. And I started packing up my computer and some other things, and because I had a small office there with a computer and a few clothes. It was just set up for me. And I started clearing all that out. And she was kind of taken aback because she realized I wasn't kidding around. So she tried again, kind of softly, to say, there was just one problem with this whole thing. And if that thing hadn't happened, none of this would have happened. This wouldn't be a problem. And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "You just don't understand." So her attempt to try to convince me to stop and stay and reconsider was to consider once again that I was in the wrong. Not once the whole weekend, from the time she got really upset and yelled at me and started calling me names all the way through to yesterday, not once did she ever say, "Hey, listen, you got some really tough news and you got a lot to think about. And I'm so sorry that you're going through what you're going through. And I just want to be here to help you as best I can. And if there's anything I can do, I want to do that. I definitely don't want to cause you stress and hurt you and make your situation worse. I'm sorry if I did anything wrong." No, my God, no. She's never said anything like that. She laughs, if I bring up something serious and say, "You said this." She laughs, and it reminds me once again of my dad, because I can tell my dad, "You said this to me, blah, 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 blah," and he would laugh at me in my face and say, "That never happened," just completely, discount my experience and gaslight me right to my face. And I knew that I just couldn't work with someone like that. And when she said that, I said, "Listen, we're done talking about this. Let me finish packing and I'm going to go to the train station." And then she said, "No, I'll drive you to Takamatsu. It's like a 45-minute drive. But if I take the train, it's an hour." And I said, no, I don't want the ride. I'd much rather just go get on the train. And she tried to convince me out of it, and I said, I'm not interested, but, thank you for offering, but I'm not interested. So after I finished packing, it was raining, so I did let her take me right down the road, like 1 minute down the road to the local station. But that whole goodbye, she suddenly became really, really nice and very, very sweet and everything. I guess she thought I was going to change my mind and come back, but I didn't. And then whenever I got to the station, I got my ticket and everything. She was just all smiles and acting like everything was hunky-dory and all of that. And it wasn't. So her behavior to me was sociopathic. And I'm just very sad because, from that day that she started getting on to me after my examination all the way until yesterday, I had a ton of kidney pain. It happens whenever I'm under a lot of stress, when I'm dealing with people, when I get under a lot of emotional stress with people I'm dealing with. It always causes me to have pain in my kidney, and it's difficult to get rid of. And why do people do that? She herself fought with having some cancer on her liver a couple years ago, and she went through a lot to get through that, from what I understand. So I figured if anybody could understand my situation, it would be somebody like her, but apparently she just lacks empathy. She doesn't have really the ability, despite what she's been through, she doesn't really have the ability to hear people, to be patient with people, to be caring about people's feelings, to understand how they feel. She has none of that. And it was very disappointing for me because I was really looking forward to, taking pictures there and seeing some of the really cool antiques and sharing some videos and stuff with you guys. And now none of that's going to happen. And I'm broke. The money that she was supposed to pay me on the 15th, which was when my official start date was going to kick in, she was going to pay me for the time that I've spent going down there already. And I don't know if it was because it was supposed to be a joke or she was trying to make a point, but she gave me some cash in an envelope. And she said, since you're not going to be here on the 15th, I'll just give you this early so you can have it. I didn't even look at it. I just said thank you, and I left. I got on the train. But whenever I got on the train later, I opened it and looked. It was only 10,000 yen. It's only like $70. And the amount of hours that I spent down there consulting for and helping out, setting up that studio, putting up the brackets, going through all that old stuff. I picked out over 1,000 items. I personally, by hand, went through those boxes and pulled out, touched, looked at, and recommended over 1,000 items, which they started cleaning and getting ready for pictures. And I consulted them on the lights and all of that setup. I did all of those things. And she did pay for my train, my transportation to come down there, and she gave me a room to stay there. But after all this time, all she gave me was 10,000 yen. Seriously? Just $70? That was like pouring salt on the wound. She might as well have just not given me anything. So, anyway, I decided it was important for me to get back into school and not miss any more days, even though I was supposed to go to a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Because basically, the tumor here, and it's not only on the kidney, it's on that vein or artery, right? And that's the primary concern, that it stops that blood flow. So that needs to be addressed first. And basically what the doctor there told me was, he first wants to have me take this medicine that will help, I guess you could say, shrink it. It's not chemotherapy. It's a different type of protein inhibitor. And I think it might be an option for me. But the thing is, when you take it, you go home. It's like an outpatient thing. You take the medicine, you go home, or you take it at home or something like that. It can have strong side effects, but you can at least be at home. You don't have to be at the hospital. And I thought, well, if that's the case, then I can't be in Takamatsu. I can't be missing class and staying in an abusive dormitory or room. I would much rather be here close to the school. And if I feel good enough, I can go to class. I can be taking the medicine and going to class. Once the tumor in the vein abates, kind of shrinks and goes back a little bit, there are a couple of things that should happen. One is the anemia in my body. And you see I'm still wearing these ridiculous compression socks. I wear them pretty often, not every day, but I have either tube socks that give me some compression, or I wear the darker, stronger compression socks. But I wear these every day. I don't have any energy to go uphill or go upstairs. Takes a lot out of me to do that. But if this vein or artery gets cleared out, then basically my edema and my anemia will abate. I'll get stronger. I'll be able to do more. I'll feel better. My mind will clear. I will have more energy. It'll be really good for me. But as the tumor continues to shrink and get off of that vein or artery, then it opens the option of surgery, because right now I can't have surgery because of where it's located on that vein or artery. But if it's off of it, then my doctor in Hiroshima can do surgery and take out the tumor and the kidney. And that's what this other doctor also recommended. He recommended that they both come out. So I've got two doctors telling me that my kidney is not functioning and should come out. That's what two different doctors have told me. So if that's going to happen, the first thing that needs to go is that tumor needs to be out of that vein or artery. And once that can be done, then they can do surgery. And then after that, a little bit of follow-up radiation, to kill whatever might be left or whatever. So that's where we're at right now. And I decided that even though there was an option for me to do treatment in Takamatsu, because of the treatment that was recommended, I felt like it was better for me to try to be here locally. So if there's any place in or around Onomichi that can do this procedure and I'm able to find a way to pay for it, which I don't have right now. Right now, I don't even really have my bills yet. I'm trying to find a way to do that. If I'm able to find a way to get the money for my medical treatments, I'm going to wind up having treatment for several months, I think. The radiation and surgery probably will cause me to be in the hospital at least 2 months. If I had radiation only, it would be 2 months, but maybe with surgery and radiation, it would be more than 2 months. I'm not sure. But it will be difficult. It'll be expensive, and I don't know yet how exactly it's going to affect my visa, because I've already missed time for being out with a leg clot from last year. So it's just a complicated situation. It's it's not one of those things where I can just go back to get the support from my family and once everything is all good, come back to Japan. I don't have that option. So right now it's either just die as quickly as possible or get better as quickly as possible, because I'm not interested in just existing. I won't do that. I refuse. I've said that from the beginning, and that's what I want. I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm also not interested in just existing. I don't want to exist. I want to thrive. I want to thrive, be happy, have happy relationships, and do the things that I love to do. So, I'm 49. If I can have at least another 49 years on this earth to be healthy and do the things that I want to do and have a loving relationship and all of that, then I want to do that. But if I'm going to continue to battle with illness and be sick and that sort of thing, then I would just rather not be here. And I'm not interested in anything in between. I just want either or. I want happiness and health, or I just want to move on into the hereafter and move on from there, wherever that leads me. But that's pretty much it for now. That makes me feel better to be able to express everything and get it off my chest. And this was kind of a nice place to come, because there's been nobody here. I've been able to pretty much say everything that I wanted to say. and nobody bothered me. Mosquitoes seemed to have tried a few bites and didn't like me too much, so that's good. It's too bad that the poisonous people aren't like that as well. Just come in and take a whiff and then head out. That would be nice. I appreciate you guys once again. Anybody who's watched this video, listened to it all the way through, I appreciate you for what it matters, or for what it's worth, rather. I love you, and I do thank you for being a part of my channel and my life in whatever way you've been, whether you've come out to meet me in person or whether you've just watched me from afar. Even if you've never said anything or commented on my channel, I welcome you to do that. The only thing I ever ask people to do is just be positive. You know, if you don't have something constructive or positive to say, it's better not to post anything. It's just, I do my best to, I feel like naturally I am polite to people, but you shouldn't have to try to be polite to people. But when people do start saying rude things, I have a tendency to just not care if I'm nice to them or not. I'll just be rude back. I'm kind of like a mirror in that way. If people are being rude to me, then I'll just return it. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but if I have to be around somebody for an extended time, I guess that's my way of coping. I don't know. That's pretty much it for now. I'm gonna go hop in the van, drive home, maybe study a little kanji on this same phone that I'm shooting with right now, and get some rest. Thank you again for listening, and hopefully, I didn't say anything about my house, but I was going to say hopefully sometime soon, maybe when I go see my doctor again, I'll be able to stop by my house. I've been wanting to, I just haven't been able to. Time, exams, and school, financial obligations make it really difficult. It's a couple hours from here. It's not very easy to just get over there, but I really do need to get over there and check in on things, and it would be nice to see the house again and share with you guys oh my gosh, I don't want to see the grass, but I'm sure it's gotten crazy. But hopefully I can get over there and give you guys an update. But for now, it's just kind of what's going on here, and I'm sorry it's not so interesting, and there's only a small group of you that will be interested in what's going on with me. But what can I say? You know, cancer sucks. I guess that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys next time.